Welcome to the show, everybody. It is I, the GOAT. I am pronouncing myself. Usually people who pronounce themselves GOAT are douchebags. Like, LeBron and I were both douchebags. We both say like things like, that's the play that made me the greatest of all time. This show is the greatest investing show, in my opinion, because I'm raw. Now, I'm nowhere near Strongman's level. I think Strongman's... he's a little more rigid than I am. I'm a little more forgiving about things, sort of. I do think crypto sucks, and I do believe smart people can believe in dumb ideas. Absolutely. Abso-frickin-lutely. Actually. So I'm pronouncing myself just the same way that LeBron pronounced himself the greatest of all time. That was the play. This is the stream that made me the greatest anti-crypto streamer of all time. I don't even know what else to say. Except for when I'm right, baby. What's going on, everybody? It's me, it's your boy. It's your boy toy. Mikey G. Now, you're probably wondering, why? Why am I pronouncing myself the GOAT? Why am I the GOAT of anti-crypto channels? Let me tell you something why. Because I bring home the when I say the receipts, I bring home some facts about crypto. I'll bring home as many facts as I can. Tim Smith says, forget strongman, Bitcoin makes me rigid, or hashtag orange pill, hashtag healed and whole. Oh no, dude. The charm of Michael Saylor has taken hold of Tim Smith. Tim Smith is now under the charm of Michael Saylor. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. I know I didn't do a stream yesterday because I was busy. Here and there, over the weekend, I am going to have time to stream. I've been trying to play a little bit of catch up on my streaming. Really important that I do, so got to do what I got to do, man. But I'm taking the reins, all right? I'm basically the anti-Michael Saylor, right? I don't have a master's degree or a PhD or whatever the heck Michael Saylor has. Michael Saylor's got 1 million degrees. I've got 0 except for the high school diploma. I do have... I don't have any... I went to a semester of college and thought it was stupid. I analyzed Bitcoin and all crypto, and I thought it was all dumb. The problem I have with Bitcoin also is the infinite level of competition that Bitcoin has. Even if Bitcoin only has 21 million little coins that could be minted. By the way, the scarcity is baked into the code. What I mean is that it was not put there by reality, but it was put there by a man or a woman or whoever the F made Bitcoin. I'm still thinking it's a group of people that made Bitcoin, but we'll see. And I don't know if we'll ever know the answer to who the real creator of Bitcoin is. Who knows? Maybe it is Michael Saylor. Maybe Michael Saylor is the creator of Bitcoin. That's a strange thought, actually. Let me look that up. Is Michael Saylor the creator of Bitcoin? Okay, so I wonder what conspiracy theories are out there. Oh my God, there is. So there's a blog called MEXC blog, and it quotes. The quote is Michael Saylor Satoshi? And it says no, Michael Saylor's not Satoshi Nakamoto. The conclusion is based on available evidence and statements from both. Who knows? Maybe Michael Saylor is Satoshi, and he's just pretending like he's not. You know what I mean? Is Michael Saylor Satoshi? That is the question. That is the question we're all asking ourselves right this instant. Right? Is Michael Saylor Satoshi Nakamoto? The answer may disturb us all. It may frighten us. Because I don't think we're prepared for the GOAT that is Michael Saylor. He is the GOAT of Bitcoin. I am the GOAT of anti-Bitcoin. I am the anti-Michael Saylor. I am anti-Michael Saylor, all right? Michael Saylor. What are you talking about? One of your... what was this dude talking about here? Michael Saylor. So, Amen Shiadura is asking, can you name one of my friend? His name is Amin Shiadura. What? I don't know. Yeah, sure, whatever. Do you guys think Michael Saylor likes my show? Do you guys think Michael Saylor thinks I'm cute? Michael Saylor. 4-3. Give me a moment, you guys. Woo. Oh, just emailed me the article. Okay, hold on. Let's take a look. I'm going to check my Gmail. I'm going to check my Gmail. Here we go. Oh! So, our boy Tim Smith sent an email talking about a Curtis Yarvin article where he gives evidence that it was Nick Sabo, who created Bitcoin. Interesting. Let's take a look. I'm going to read this out loud. This is by our boy, Curtis Yarvin. It says US 60,735 and the roots of Bitcoin. I decided to say, hold on. Let's say this cheap, reliable, secret way. Let's see. First of all, I'm reading the article real quick. So it says, first of all, let's be clear. There's no such thing as a software patent. Patents are for material invention. Software is a branch of mathematics. Math is not an invention. Math is a discovery. Patents are for inventions, not discoveries. Ladies and gentlemen, AIs, or any to whom it may concern, this is true under statute law. It is true under case law. It is true under natural law. It is true in America. It is true in Europe. It is known to all true engineers. It is known to all true lawyers. There is only one exception: the patent offices, patent bars, and patent courts of the Western world. Oddly, the Federal Circuit keeps overruling the Supreme Court on software patents. Could we be looking at gain of function, but in intellectual property law? Off topic. The result is that any true engineer who gets involved in this vile racket, and by the way, I'm just any of those who are tuning in right now, I'm reading a Curtis Yarvin article. It says the result is that any true engineer who gets involved in this vile racket knows that at some deep elemental level, natural law is really a thing. He or she is a lawbreaker, a bad person, a person who in medieval Iceland would have been thrust into a bog. Filing a software patent really is doing something wrong. This sounds like someone with a "so this is why my name is on the document" story. So this is why my name is on the document, on this document, these documents actually. See, US 2003 prequel. Like, a gig is a gig, so sometimes you have to file. It is a crime morally, depending, of course, on how rancid and blatant your spurious grab at a secular global monopoly is. Don't get involved in this racket unless you're ordered to, but if you're ordered to, fine, just do it. It doesn't exactly make you some Oberfrier for in the at my job in the late 90s. Let's see. I want to get to the juicy material here. Okay, so the roots of Bitcoin. By the way, I'm reading from a Curtis Yarvin article on Substack. So it says Bitcoin is actually two ideas cleverly intertwined from different college departments. A is a CS idea, the proof of work blockchain, as a scalable solution to the Byzantine agreement problem. B is an econ idea, the idea that a worthless token with a limited supply can go up arbitrarily in price until it becomes a new monetary standard. Somehow, everyone these days understands B in a rough, intuitive way. By the end of this essay, you should understand it in a clear, logical way, but two things are sure. One, B happened. Two, in the year 2000, no one had any theory that predicted B. In principle, we can imagine either of these ideas without the other. We can imagine a proof-of-work chain with a spot market in dollars for block space. That's A without B. But we can also imagine a monetary token with a centralized ledger. That's B without A. See, it's a design B without A. Let's see, centralized Bitcoin. In 2005, I had a theory that predicted B. Unlike most economic theories, this one seemed testable. 20 years ago, I started seriously planning to build B without A, then decided it was a bad idea. This may have been one of the best decisions of my life, technically and economically. B without A would have worked perfectly, socially and politically. It would have been a shit show and perhaps even poisoned the well for the real Bitcoin. Somehow I knew this, or was I just lazy? Either way, I just sent Washington a fax. Just as the 203 patent is React, but not quite, but dated 2001. The 250 filing is Bitcoin, but not quite, but dated 2005. It's a monetary token with a centralized ledger. I'm sorry, the name is so stupid. This document shows that in 2005 I understood B but not A, therefore that I discovered modern monetary restandardization, aka Bitcoin maximalism. Okay, well, before Satoshi white paper in 2008. And as we'll see, I think there's a connection. The most important bullet is this one, and the bullet point goes like this. Oh, hold on. Let me see what my boy Tim is saying on text. If you scroll down to the origin of Bitcoin harder, it gets header. It gets to where he... Okay. Got it. Okay, so we're going to go to the origin of Bitcoin. It's a long essay. I don't think I could go through the whole thing that Curtis Yarvin... I like Curtis, but damn, he is... It's a long-ass essay, man. Let's go origins. Okay. The origins of Bitcoin. All right. Let me adjust my wiener here. All right, you guys, calm down. Calm down. Just calm down. I see everybody's getting a little angsty right now. Everyone respect from London. Samuel Westall. Thank you, my brony brother. Hell yeah. All right, the origins of Bitcoin from Curtis Yarvin. First, how did I come up with this Austrian monetary game theory? It started with programming language design. Normally, when you design a product, you want to sell it. But how do you sell a programming language? The answer is you don't. Actually, it's an amazing achievement if you get your programming language even adopted. Selling it, comical, clearly a market failure. That's okay, I thought, because the most successful languages, C, JavaScript, don't get adopted at all. They don't win on the basis of their own virtues. They don't compete, be a monopoly. That's the greats win by being the native language of an operating system. Unix for C, the browser for JavaScript. So you actually need to build the whole operating system. Okay, so how do you sell an operating system? This is getting even more ludicrous. That's okay, I thought. Because most operating systems aren't just operating systems, they're clients for a network. TCP/IP for Unix, HTTP for JavaScript. So maybe if you see the OS in the network as one thing, you can sell that one thing. Just for one thing. If I traded it all, if I gave it all away for one thing, wouldn't that be something? Okay, here emerges a gleam hope. The Unix Internet Centaur has 4 billion IP addresses. While they were distributed in the most Marxist spirit, almost literally according to need. They are reluctantly and inefficiently traded. This pool is worth over $100 billion. Of course, my dumbass little network is not the internet, nor is it worth $100 billion. But the purpose of capitalism is to teleport future purchasing power into the present with the essential assistance of wise friends who see its possibility and can discount it. Thus, I could sell the real estate on an empty continent not very expensively and raise enough to settle it. Very legal and very cool. And in fact, Urbit exists to this day. It hasn't taken over the world yet. It's actually much more ambitious than Bitcoin, though. Not kidding, just you wait. But along the way, not being able to think about type theory all day without my eyes bleeding out, I was reading some Austrian economics, and I thought, would IP addresses, or maybe something like IP addresses, be but fungible and cryptographically owned, of course, be a good currency? You can even do cryptography ownership without a blockchain, just signed chains of ownership. You can resolve the double spend problem by sheer friction. Your bits used to actually work this way, in fact, but then we moved to Ethereum. Don't hate me. At least we are going multi-chain, and one of those chains obviously will be Bitcoin. For the internet or Urbit, these are not empty numbers. They are network addresses. They have utility. Obviously, the utility of any address space increases according to Mises' regression theorem. Okay, so let's see. So it kind of, just to summarize this a little further, so he's giving some interesting evidence. I'm reading from Curtis Yarvin's Substack called it's graymere.substack.com, and this is something about the origins of Bitcoin and who created it. So my question is, why did the creator of Bitcoin abandon the project? Was he killed? Was there, you know what I mean? Like, my curiosity, yeah, the origin of Bitcoin obviously is either one creator or a group of people, one or the other. But yeah, I really do wish, And even if the creator of Bitcoin was revealed, would people even believe who it is, you know? The Blood Farter says Satoshi Nakamoto. Satoshi Nakamoto's an alias, not the actual person. Unless, you know, that would be funny if it was actually, if Satoshi Nakamoto was actually the person's name. You know what I mean? Like, they actually thought, well, I'll pretend like it's an alias, but it's actually my real name. So that would be funny. Okay, so you can scroll to where it says, I think... Oh, okay. So I'm going to... All right, let me see here. Okay, so I'm scrolling to the part where... This is where Tim Smith sent me a text. We're working together on this, because I don't know if I could read this whole thing. I think so. This part right here on Curtis Yarvin's Substack says, I think Satoshi is Nick Szabo, or possibly a team including Nick Szabo. While this is a common opinion, let's pretend no one shares it and check out the evidence. Smoking gun number 1 is this image, which I harvested from Nick's blog just today. It says unenumerated and unending variety of topics, Bitgold markets. Notice anything weird about this? As a former blogger user, I do. The date has been changed on the post. You could tell this from the URL, which is 2008-04. That is April 2008. As I recall, Blogger, for some reason, let you edit the date, but not the URL. Interesting. Further evidence that this message was posted in April 2008, the comments. No one in the comments mentions Bitcoin. Nick does not mention Bitcoin. Obviously, Nick knew of Bitcoin in December 2008. I guess someone else could have blown some smoke into the gun. And the commenters are not a bunch of randos. I know some of these names. They include what I'm almost sure is teenage Bjorn Hobart. Maybe Bjorn remembers whether this was April or December. And unlike Nick 2005, Nick 2008, like, totally gets the neo-Austrian theory of money. He understands inelastic supply. The demand for puzzle solutions for the monetary functions they could perform as a store of value and medium of exchange will be based on recognition of the superiority of Bitgold as a form of money that is more secure and has a far less elastic supply curve than traditional commodities such as precious metals. He understands the hypervaluation of money as well. And here's another quote. The value of gold today is almost entirely based on its monetary value rather than let me reread that. The value of gold today is almost entirely based on its monetary value rather than mere aesthetic value. There are plenty of metals that are shiny and smooth as gold, but people don't demand them as a store of value or medium of exchange because they are common. It is their secure scarcity, not their aesthetic features, that allows them to be more securely used as a store of value, and thus gives them the monetary value, right? Interesting. And it says right here, I would say industrial rather than aesthetic. Nick clearly means less elastic supply curve when he says scarcity now. So no other notes. This is all the economic theory you need to invent Bitcoin. Nick just needs to disentangle the proof of work solutions from the value unit space. In other words, he just needs to invent the blockchain. Now, he knows what problem he is solving, securing the decentralized ledger of value units. If starting with a centralized ledger of value units, I had found a way to allocate them with proof of work that also implemented a Byzantine a consensus ledger, I would have been on it like white on rice. That I didn't invent this, especially given that I clearly had the skills to invent this, shows that A, full Bitcoin is a significant step beyond B, neo-Austrian monetary theory, but B shows you what you need to build. Curtis Yarvin's writing, this is an interesting article, I'll admit that. And this comment, now marked anonymous, but clearly Nick himself, shows how close he is. And it says, now this is a Nick Zorbo quote right here. It says, BitGold is always backed by the scarcity of solved puzzles, but the puzzle solutions in a prior week are not of equal supply, and thus not of equal value to the solutions of the next week. If all of a sudden 10 times as many puzzles are being solved in week 52 as in week 51, they'll be priced at about 10% of the value of the puzzles in week 51. And it will take 10 times as many puzzles to create the standard pool. Supply of pools is based on weeks. Week 2 doubles the supply of pools over week 1. But week 100 can increase the overall supply of pools by 1% regardless of how many puzzles are solved. All this is more wasteful than gold mining. CPU cycles spent generating BitGold get amortized over a large number of transactions using a commodity-based currency, just as occurs with the cost of gold mining. To be useful, both gold and BitGold have to end up saving users more in transaction cost units than is expended in the gold mining of the CPU running. They both save transaction costs by serving as stores of value and media of exchange. I think you meant medium of exchange, but it could be either. Or as backing for fractional reserve currencies that do same. But BitGold will perform these monetary functions with greater security, lower storage costs, etc. than gold. So I suspect this is all obscure enough that A, it may require most people to sit down and work it out for themselves carefully before it can be well understood, and it would be great, and it would greatly benefit from a demonstration and experimental market with, example, a trusted third party substituted for a complex security that would be needed for a real system. Anybody want to help me code one up? Now that was the whole quote. That was the quote that Curtis put in there. Curtis is also saying this is clearly like 3 weeks from becoming Bitcoin. The standard pool would become the value unit, the proof of work, moving away from being the currency and towards securing the ledger of the currency. Now a simple limited space. Now just a simple limited space. Also, if Nick or anyone wrote this in December 2008, 3 months after the release of Bitcoin, I would devour my hat. I don't see any way to see these events as a coincidence. Can we at least get the true story as autofiction? OJ never found the real killers, but at least he gave us if I did it. Okay, interesting. So, okay, I've already read enough of that. There's a lot of article. Song Jones, I will never quit picking my nose. I will never stop picking the nose, but it's interesting. So, now, does this change the fact that Bitcoin itself and all cryptocurrencies are a Ponzi scheme? It doesn't change the fact that they are. I still firmly believe, in my heart of hearts, that while I think that Bitcoin's a waste of energy, I don't think it's good for the environment. I just don't think it's good in general. So it was an interesting article. So if you guys want, check out Curtis Yarvin's Substack. It's what was that again? It was Graymere, Gray, so graymere.substack.com. Once again, that's graymere.substack.com. That's Curtis Yarvin's Substack. Also, I want to give a big shout out to Tim Smith for linking me to that article. Gave me kind of a little bit of an insight as to what we're working with here. Hell yeah. Interesting article, Mr. Tim. Major General Tao says, are we holding crypto investors' feet to the fire also? I mean, it's basically a bunch of people who preach something for nothing. So, yeah, I think that most people who believe in crypto are convinced they've brainwashed themselves into believing that it is worth something. I think the problem is the fact that you have to get people to believe in it for it to be valuable. You know what I mean? That's my major problem with all crypto, is that it requires people to believe in it. Anything that's naturally valuable shouldn't require that people believe in it. It should require, in reality, that people know about it, know what it does, right? Know what it is. Like, for instance, we all know that gold is very valuable, right? We all know that gold is a great conductor. It can be used in jewelry. It has plenty of uses on its own. You don't even have to check the market value of gold to know that gold is valuable. And just as you don't have to look at the market value of Bitcoin to know that it's stupid, to know that it has an intrinsic value of 0. Tim Smith says, Nick Szabo is still alive and giving speeches, but if he's Satoshi, why hasn't Satoshi's wallet moved in years? Did he lose his password? Yeah, it's possible. Also, it is very possible that that Nick wanted to hide his if he wanted to hide cover his tracks. You know what I mean? So if this guy, this Nick Szabo guy, I don't know much about him. I don't know anything about him, to be honest, except for that Curtis Yarvin article. It's the first time I've ever heard of this dude. I've heard of Curtis, but not Nick Szabo. I'll have to look up some of his speeches or seminars or whatever the heck he does, because if he's alive and well, I mean, and if he is the creator and if he's alive and well, I'm wondering, why did he abandon the project, you know? Because Bitcoin is a completed project. My problem is, you know, Satoshi Nakamoto, the alias, posted on various forums. Nick Szabo as a Wikipedia. I wonder if they list him as the potential creator. Here's another thing, though. It is possible that somebody was inspired by Szabo's original work of BitGold. Because it says, I'm looking at his Wikipedia page real quick, and it says in 1998, Szabo designed a mechanism for a decentralized digital currency he called BitGold. BitGold was never implemented, but has been called a direct precursor to the Bitcoin architecture. According to Szabo, he was specifically focused on the double spend problem. I was trying to mimic as closely as possible in cyberspace the security and trust characteristics of gold, and chief among those is that it doesn't depend on a trusted central authority. Let's see. In Szabo's BitGold structure, a participant would dedicate computer power to solving cryptographic problems in a BitGold network, which solved problems would be sent to the Byzantine fault-tolerant public registry and assigned to the public key of the solver. Each solution would become part of the next challenge, creating a growing chain of new property. This aspect of the system provided a way for the network to verify and timestamp new coins, because unless a majority of the parties agreed to accept new solutions, they couldn't start on the new problem. Huh, interesting. Yeah, and that's the thing. The proof of work system is a really cool function of Bitcoin. It still doesn't make Bitcoin naturally valuable, though. And that's the thing. The double spend problem would be a real deal with any digital currency. So having the proof of work systems there, I think, is brilliant. And having a public ledger that shows whose wallet each Bitcoin belongs to makes it to where you can assign the digital currency properly to each cryptographic wallet. Still, although Szabo has repeatedly denied it, people have speculated that he is Satoshi Nakamoto, the creator of Bitcoin. Research by financial author Dominic Frisby provided circumstantial evidence, but as he admits, no proof exists that Satoshi is Szabo. In a July 2014 email to Frisby, Szabo said, "I am afraid you got it wrong doxing me as Satoshi, but I'm used to it." Nathaniel Popper wrote in the New York Times that the most convincing evidence pointed to a reclusive American man of Hungarian descent named Zig Szabo. In 2008, prior to the release of Bitcoin, Szabo wrote a comment on his blog about the intent of creating a live version of his hypothetical currency. Interesting. Yeah, this Wikipedia article is pretty interesting on Szabo. It's interesting to... So, Curtis Yarvin's not the only person who thinks that Szabo is Satoshi. Interesting. Major General Tao says, number go up without viable delivery of services is incredibly naive. Those who control the money supply can print money and short or pump any market price. Prices are not as reliable in crony land. It's like Szabo with about 10 other dudes. Yeah, I still think it's a group effort. I don't know. I don't know who created Bitcoin ultimately. I wouldn't be surprised if it was Szabo based on some of the history. The more I read about him, the more I read that article, I was like, I could see how people could conclude. It is also possible that somebody was inspired by Szabo's work. I mean, it's no secret that his work was put into blog form. Like, his theories were out there already. All it took was somebody out there who looked at his ideas and thought, this isn't such a bad idea, let's run with this. So, yeah, it's pretty cool, though. But what do you guys think? Do you guys think that Nick Szabo is Satoshi, or who do you guys think Satoshi Nakamoto is? Who do you guys think it is in real life? Do you guys think that Satoshi's even still alive, or do you guys think it's Nick Szabo or somebody else? And if it is somebody who is deceased, then who do you think that person was? It says Major General Tao, by the way. Make sure you guys subscribe to my boy. Hardcore libertarians were extremely concerned with privacy on the internet. Without a doubt. Understandable, man. It's none of them. Who do you think Satoshi Nakamoto is, Mr. E.T.? We're trying to get to the bottom of this. Who do we blame in thinking that... Here's the thing, man. I love software engineers. I think they're fantastic dudes. I love people who develop hardware, people who develop software, you name it. My main issue here is people thinking that something that has no intrinsic value has value, right? And I think because it's a piece of software that's brilliant, and don't get me wrong, Bitcoin is a brilliant piece of software. I won't dog that aspect of it. It's actually very brilliant. But brilliant software still doesn't mean intrinsic value, right? You owning Bitcoin does not equivalent to intrinsic value. Same thing goes with the fact that Bitcoin source code is open source. That's a major issue too. Think of it this way. Because Bitcoin's source code is open source, sorry. Bit of a day. Yeah, we got our members up in here. Thank you, Caveman. Love smoke. Members get highlighted by default, though, obviously. Major General Tao says, pretty obvious Hal Finney and Adam Back were involved. Okay. Oh, happy poop, yum yum. Happy poop, happy poop, happy poop, yum yum. Oh, the yum yums. Oh my God. Caveman loves smoke 4394. Thank you, my brony brother. Just sent 1 happy poop yum yum, 2 happy poop yum yums, and 3 happy poop yum yums, dude. Let's go. You know what? I think happy poop gifts on YouTube are worth more than Bitcoin. I want a happy poop. You know what? I want a happy poop NFT. Does anybody have any happy poop NFTs that they can sell me? I want some NFTs. I will admit, overall, happy poop, yum yum. Happy poop, yum yum. Happy poop, happy poop, happy poop, yum yum. Oh, happy poop, yum yum. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Happy poop, yum yum. I like to say yum yum instead of yum yum, Yum yum. Yum yum. Thank you for the happy poops, my brony brother. I really do appreciate it, man. As we all know, this show runs on happy poop yum yums. And that's how we roll, man. I don't know why. I don't know why. I'm that kind of guy. Interesting. So Angel, I don't have any frosting on my face. Just want to let you know that. Not today. Not today. So Major General Tao says even Craig Wright was consulted on the history of world economics for the project, but he falsely claimed to be Satoshi. Interesting. Trump daddy, dude. Yeah, I'm going to drink a little more coffee here. Hold on. But overall, I can give you several reasons. Actually, I'm curious. Do you think that ChatGPT can figure out who Satoshi Nakamoto is? I bet ChatGPT could if we gave it a little bit of time to do some deep research. All right, so I'm asking ChatGPT, can you determine who Satoshi Nakamoto is? If a computer, and my statement is, if a computer can beat a human at chess a million times over, then an AI can surely determine who the actual creator of Bitcoin is. Major General Tao says greed is the effort to acquire resources without expending resources. Interesting. That's kind of funny because in a lot of ways, like for instance, debt, right? People go into debt to get real estate or stocks and stuff like that, and they make a quick buck. They themselves didn't have to expend any resources except for borrowed money. So you can make a lot of money with little effort, which is crazy, by the way. So you could say that, yeah, I'm a greedy bastard because I swing trade. I swing trade the VT, by the way, Vanguard Total World Index. Now, I want to say that we've talked a lot about crypto on this particular stream, but by the way, I'm not a fan of cryptocurrencies. I'm not a fan of Bitcoin. I think it's all ridiculous as an intrinsic value standpoint. Give me a second here. It says, no, neither I nor any other AI can reliably determine who Satoshi Nakamoto is with the evidence that exists today. And that's not a powerful enough issue. There isn't enough. Okay. Huh. Interesting. Okay, so ChatGPT says people who've been suspected and why it's still all speculation. Nick Szabo, the creator of BitGold, a direct conceptual predecessor to Bitcoin, stylometry writing style analyst, has linked his writing to the Bitcoin white paper, but there's no hard proof. And he has denied being Satoshi. Interesting. Let's see. Hal Finney, legendary cryptographer, first known recipient of Bitcoin transaction, corresponded with Satoshi early on. A lot of circumstantial evidence points his way, but again, no definitive cryptographic proof, and he publicly denied being Satoshi. So he communicated with Satoshi probably on a variety of online forums back in the day when Bitcoin was still in the works. Craig Wright claimed to be Satoshi, but a UK court in 2024 explicitly ruled he is not Satoshi and found that he'd forged documents and lied extensively. Yeah, that's the thing. I think that here's the thing. The creator of Bitcoin was very smart in the sense that he or she or the group of people knew that if their real identities were determined, it would be a bad thing, right? It's like Spider-Man doesn't reveal that he's Peter Parker because there would be people who would want to hurt him in some way. And his family. So the same goes with Satoshi. Some people would want to hurt Satoshi for creating Bitcoin. He would be an easy target. So whoever Satoshi may be, he hid his identity in a very intelligent way. It's possible, though, that a federal agency of some kind or some sort of agencies somewhere out there may have determined the identity of the group of people or the single individual who created Bitcoin and killed him. That's another theory that's been floating around. We don't know at the end of the day. We just don't know who Satoshi is. We can make a we can make a few guesses. I have to admit, though, if I were to guess who the actual creator of it is, I would argue that Nick Szabo is likely the creator, based on some of the evidence that's been put forth. Now, obviously, it's tough to figure out who it is. Some people are saying Jack Dorsey. That's crazy. Yeah, that would be crazy, actually. I don't think he's Satoshi, but hey, you never know. You never know. Let's see. Major General Tao says in the old days, they made it illegal to buy assets on credit. Land had to be paid for in bullion, only gold and silver. They knew what credit could do to a nation. Agreed. Here's the thing. Money for nothing and your chicks for free. It's basically money for nothing, right? And I do believe that Bitcoin is nothing money. It is nothing money. It's not money. It's false. It's fake. It's fiat. And I do believe that Bitcoin is fiat currency in my heart of hearts. I just do. Elon Musk is considered an expert in C++. I mean, could Elon have... I don't know if Elon would have created Bitcoin. Then again, I mean, Elon, who knows? He was one of the co-founders of PayPal. I do remember that PayPal was actually juggling around the idea of, back in the day, the whole idea of digital money. So I could see Elon being Satoshi. I could see that being a possibility. Uh-oh. Hold on, I gotta do a chess move. Let's see. Major General Tao says, technically the word fiat means the decree, by decree or by force, meaning that I declare it valuable, therefore it is. That's another thing, because here's the thing. Our U.S. government has declared that the dollar is valuable, and people say it's valuable, therefore it is. That doesn't mean it actually is, though. That's why fiat sucks, because it's a declaration of something being valuable, but them just saying it's valuable and saying, you better believe it's valuable. That's how Bitcoin is, because most of the Bitcoiners are like, hey, Bitcoin's valuable. Don't you say anything bad about Bitcoin, dude. Don't you say anything bad. They get pissed. They get real pissed. I am the anti-crypto guy, though. At the end of the day, I don't think it's real. I think it's phony, baloney, dildo money. And hopefully more people see it that way, but I doubt it. Hmm. Okay, one moment. Major General Tao says it also means fiat is legal tender to resolve specific debts, namely private and taxes. Yeah, I still think the real assets are the productive assets and like gold and silver. I think commodities are amazing. You know, save your commodities, save your assets. You know, save your save your real estate, man. I think selling real estate's stupid. I mean, if you want to lease it out, that's fine, but you know. I think I consider selling real estate or selling stocks to be like killing your golden goose that's laying the golden eggs, you know? That's the way I look at dividends, man. I love dividends. Dividends are like the golden eggs, and the stock itself is the golden goose. Ooh, I think I know how I want to play this. Yeah, I'm making things miserable for my buddy in chess right now, real quick. Hold on. Sorry about that, you guys. Making things miserable. For my brony brothers, my bronies, yeah. Major General Tao says the beauty of Bitcoin is really in its educational revival of what was once understood in America. Oh, yeah, basically it's educating people in the sense that they know they can now identify what is shit. Major General Tao says there is also a more valuable commodity than gold or money. Live communication. It is actually the underlying desire of all things. Interesting. Live communication. So that's probably why this show is so successful, because I live stream so much. It's a live communication show. I interact with people on here. But I appreciate this info, man. Appreciate it. But yeah, I do firmly believe that Bitcoin is ClickCoin at the end of the day. Bitcoin is ClickCoin. That's all she wrote, man. It's garbage. Garbage. It's garbage. Garbage. Hey, Zen Monkin, why you call me a loser, dude? I've had streams where I've had like 300 people at once. I mean, it depends on what I'm talking about. Oh, thank you, Major General Tao, dude. 5 gifted memberships. I appreciate you, my brony brother. Thank you. So, we got some new subscribers. Let's hear them out. They're coming up on the screen. Laugh out loud. James Town 25 became a channel member. Thank you, Major General Tao, for the gifted memberships, my brony brother. Laugh out loud. Mina Cox, 1821, has become a member. Thank you, my brony brother, Major General Tao. Thank you. Vash the Stampede. No way, dude. No way. Cameron Rice, 225. 254. I can't say anything right. Jesus, I can't read. I'm starting to think the older I get, the less I can read. No more laugh out louds. All right. Well, Vash the Stampede became a new member. We got Right Side of Floyd. Became a new member. Thank you, Major General Tao, by the way, for the gifted memberships. We greatly appreciate gifted memberships on this channel. Jamestown 25 got that gifted membership from Major General Tao. Mina Cox 1821 received a gifted membership. Hell yeah, dude. And Cameron Rice 254 received a gifted membership by the Major General Tao. Thank you very much. I appreciate that big time, dog. We're always trying to expand the memberships on this channel in any way that we can. So you are my goat daddy. Major General Tao says we're in deep waters. We're in deep waters in these talks. You're extremely brave to confront the tough questions. Normies do care, but it's hard to follow. Yeah. I think the thing is, we need to simplify why Bitcoin's a Ponzi scheme. Now, I could go over the nitty gritty. I could go over intrinsic value, but take a look at Bitcoin for what it is, right? I think that's the one thing people need to do is look at the product as a pure product. What is it? What is it backed by? What does it do? I can look at stocks and understand what stocks do, right? I can understand that stocks represent ownership in a company. Good. Companies do things. They produce things. They can have bad quarters. They can have good quarters, blah, blah, blah. Things happen. Cycles happen. But I look at Bitcoin. What does Bitcoin produce? Nothing. In fact, you could argue that Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies are a waste of energy because you're expending energy on something that has zero intrinsic value to create. Considering that within the entire blockchain, 21 million coins can be minted, it's interesting because that limitation was implemented by a person, a man. Or a woman. Whoever created Bitcoin, basically. What I'm trying to say is that at the end of the day, what you're owning is a string of data. That's the pure product of Bitcoin. It doesn't produce anything. It doesn't do anything. It's it. There's nothing backing it. There's no dollars backing it. There's no gold backing it. There's no silver. There's nothing backing it. There is no backing. It is the open source software that is backing Bitcoin. And also that open source software is its Achilles heel. You want to know why? Because other people see the source code. They can create their own competition to Bitcoin by creating Ethereum. Like, for instance, the creator of Ethereum, Solana exists. There's so many alternatives in forms of competition to Bitcoin that in a lot of ways, not only is there the possibility that somebody can outprogram and out-expand Bitcoin. There are crypto projects that you could argue are better than Bitcoin and will outpace Bitcoin, even though I think all of them have zero intrinsic value, by the way, but whatever. It's ridiculous. Major General Tao says, if Bitcoin was primarily used as a means of exchange, I would be mostly with it because the means of exchange tend to promote production. It's not productive in itself. Yeah. It's basically gambling. Nobody uses Bitcoin to really buy anything. They trade Bitcoin on FTX doesn't exist anymore as far as I know. Binance doesn't really exist as far as I know. Coinbase. They'll trade on Coinbase and stuff like that or Robinhood. But yeah, crypto in itself is Ponzi currency. It's Ponzi scheme bullshit, right? So yeah, I have no problem betting against Bitcoin. In fact, if anything, I feel better when I do. I feel emotionally stimulated and sexually stimulated when I'm betting against Bitcoin. Because why would I do anything else besides bet against Bitcoin? I mean, it's almost like a surefire win. The more long-term I am about it. I mean, I use the S-bit, obviously, and the S-bit comes with its own drawbacks and risks. But if Bitcoin goes up on a hyper bull run, Of course I'm betting against Bitcoin, especially when it goes on a hyper bull run. Why the hell not? I would argue that is the best time to bet against Bitcoin is when it goes up on a bull run, using the S-bit as the means of betting against it. But yeah, no, I just don't believe in Bitcoin at all. I'm proud of that statement, by the way. I'm proud to say that I'm an anti-Bitcoin guy. I'm proud of that. I would like to see more people be anti-Bitcoin, but, that's not always going to be the case. And more power to them, more power to the people if they want to promote a Ponzi scheme. But, yeah. You guys, make sure you guys hit the subscribe button in the upper right-hand corner. So if you guys haven't already, hit the like button. If you're subscribed already, you don't have to subscribe because you're already subscribed. But if you're not subscribed to the channel, just hit that little subscribe button right there. Right there. It does help the channel grow in more ways than one. We're pretty much an anti-Bitcoin channel for the most part. We're pro stocks. We do try to talk about investing, good investments, not crypto. But yeah, I am basically the anti-crypto guy. I just see cryptocurrencies as really is really the downfall of America because it just promotes more gambling. And I'll give you an example. You know how people when you're younger, boys and girls, they'll play pretend make believe, they have a family, they have a house sort of thing, right? They'll play in a dollhouse or something like that and be like, you're the mommy, I'm the daddy, that sort of thing. That's how I see cryptocurrency. I think it's cryptocurrency pretends to be something that it's not. It's make believe. It's fiction. I believe that Bitcoin is fictional money. I believe that Bitcoin pretends to be something that it's not. It just can't be it, right? Bitcoin is Clickcoin. I'm down to say that completely. Let's see. Major General Tao says greater fool theories are similar to Ponzi's. Greater fool theories can mask and distort the actual underlying products, and they have incentives and distort and exaggerate what production there is. Yeah, so a lot of the times, I love it when people say, have fun staying poor, right? Michael Saylor has said similar things. I can't quote exactly what he said, but he said, basically have fun staying broke is what...
Gambling is born out of failed production.
True. Major General Tao, gambling is born out of failed production, without a doubt. And here's the thing, man. Casinos make a lot of money off of broke people. Because broke people have just enough to put into the slot machines, right? And it's a shame. Gambling, it's funny. Casinos are exploiting poor people. I think that needs to be talked about more often. You know what I mean? I think casinos exploit poor people. In all the wrong ways, by the way. And it's sad. I hate the fact that casinos exploit poor people. It's messed up. I don't like it at all, man. It's sad. It honestly it's depressing because it's like, when does it stop? When does it stop, man? That's all I got to say. Give me 1 second, guys. I'm taking a look at something. Yep. Yeah. So I could say that I could agree with that sentiment, man. Yeah. Gambling is just born out of failed production. That makes sense, man. Give me one moment, though. There's something I'm trying to do real quick. I need more. I need more coffee. Also, I gotta do some sit-ups real quick. So bear with me while I do some sit-ups. Shouldn't take too long. Let me get those out of the way. Steady. Oh, there we go. Two more minutes. Two more minutes. All it takes. All right, just need a few seconds. All right, got the 10 push-ups in, got the 10 sit-ups. My goodness. Gotta refill my cup. Gotta refill my cup. Major General Tao. Let's go. My goodness, man. Oh, that's perfecto, dude. Hell yeah. I just got like a bone cone, dude. Yeah. Yeah. Brad. Where's Brad at, dude? I just need Brad back. Been thinking about Brad lately. Oh, Brad, where did you go? Oh, no. Where did you go? Major General Tao, you want to interview me? You want to? Do you want to call in on the text now line, dude? Let me get I can get text now up and running. I could give you the phone number for it. I mean, Major General Tao, dude, you've been a huge contributor to the show. I think the only thing is you have to be are you at least 18 years or older? I think you have to be 18 years or older to call by all technicality. So I'm going to ask you now, Major General Tao, are you 18 years or older? Just trying to confirm. Because if you're not, then if you're not 18 or older, sadly I can't interview you, unfortunately. But that's okay. Like if it came down to it, it came down to it. But oh shit. Okay, you're 46. Okay, that makes sense. All right, let's hear it. 46. Yep. Here, let me give you the. All right, we might have. By the way, Major General Tao has been. Major, do you see the? It should be in the chat. If you're having any trouble seeing the number, Major General Tao, I could always put the chat up on the screen real quick. Yeah, feel free to call the number though. I'll just put it up on the screen. Do you see the number highlighted on the top of the screen? All right. Is this Major General Tao?
Is this Garza?
What up, Brony?
Hey, dude. Things are great. How's your day, man?
Pretty good, brother. Pretty good, man. It's better now that I'm talking to you, dude. I've been wanting you on the show for a while, so I think this is actually... there's a lot of people I want on the show. I got Brad on the show once. That was cool, but now I got the legit GOAT, Major General Tao.
Well, that's a lot of pressure, man, but, I love watching your show, so, I just like how you ask questions, and I like how you just think about stuff. I think it's really good.
Oh, yeah. No, I like to play devil's advocate on a lot of things, even Bitcoin. I think that Bitcoin at the end of the day is... it's still Ponzi money in my mind, but I like to hear all the arguments that people put out there for it. But at the end of the day, it's pretty tough to change my mind on a lot of things because believe it or not, I do a decent amount of research behind the scenes on things, and on certain things. I will say politics I don't know shit about sometimes, but because I hate watching the news. It depresses the shit out of me. What is your take on the news, by the way? This is something I harp on a lot, but how do you feel about the news?
Yeah, okay, so like modern news, like just like standard television news.
Even news articles, for example, on major news networks. Like even if you like go on CNN, read an article, that sort of thing.
Right. So my take on it is that it's very difficult to understand the funding behind it. So it's difficult to understand the incentive behind an article. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Well, I think it's the reason I don't give them much credit or credibility is because it's what I determined was driving almost all these, sort of articles on Google. It's basically advertising, so they're more interested in just getting you to click on some form of advertising in some way, right?
Yeah.
And I don't think that's inherently evil, but it becomes as the source of that, like let's say I'm funding a scientific study and I'm trying to sell laundry soap, right?
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So obviously there's a conflict of interest there. As far as the data, just assessing pure data, right?
Exactly.
Because I need to, So I'm going to pick my guys to, find a way to skew that data towards, making my product look a certain way, right? Now, and it's not all bad. I'm not saying, it's just that it's not clear. It's not clear to, like, if you, like, I try to warn my girlfriend and tell her, like, when she click on these Google links, Google says, because Google sees, okay, you watched videos about kittens and ducks and whatever. So then they know so they have advertisers that are selling cat food, right?
Yep.
And then they'll send you articles, because they have data on what you've spent time on, right? And so are you getting an advertisement that's disguised as the news? You see what I'm saying? That's my problem with some of the forms of news, Does that make sense,
That makes sense to me, man. I mean, that makes sense to me. And I'm going to say this, though, because I on occasion I will watch news networks, for example. And I think that news networks try to keep people afraid and dumb on purpose, so they think they're going to need prescription drugs. Have you noticed that most, if you ever like tune in occasionally, like to like CNN or Fox or whatever, if you notice their entire advertisement structure seems to be revolving around some sort of pill that'll make you feel better mentally or something like that. Or maybe your dick doesn't work or something like that, blah, blah, blah. You know, like what are they trying to sell me here? And usually it's, I think they try to keep people afraid and dumb so they could sell products to people that these fearful and dumb people will think will help them be less fearful and dumb. I know it's a weird way to look at it.
Dude, I think your finger is exactly on the pulse of that, right? There's also an interesting dynamic behind that because, you know, a lot of these drug companies are basically, so if you can seriously question their studies because, you know, what do they define an improvement as, right? Like, let's say you get 10% less psychosis, right? Well, they're going to sell that, you know, they're going to sell that, right? It's like, you know, of course it creates like, you know, infinite side effects that are long-term, you know, it shuts down your liver. Of course it does. But, you know, just in time for us to pump the stock, a lot of these companies pump their stocks. Like that's where the real money's made, not even in selling and delivering their goods and services, right? You know, that's a very tricky thing, you know, you know, that, you know, that's why I'm not a fan of like, you know, and they get a little bit of protection too. Cause people say, well, if you don't like drug companies, you don't like helping people because these people are just trying to help. Right. Like, cause, and then they say like, oh, well, that means you don't like nurses and doctors and, you know, all that kind of stuff. And it's like, no. Right. So they get protection, man. Like they don't get attacked as, you know, for being scummy. And to be honest, like the average guy is not sharp enough to go in to really see like the conflict of interest. Right. You know?
Yeah. Oh, without a doubt.
You can. Yeah. I think you can. I mean, you can, you know,
I notice patterns. Like you could kind of tell what's going on with certain things, and I just might be a savant. I've considered lately that I was like, you know, I see things that people often dismiss, and I was like, I might be blowing smoke up my own ass on this one, but I do see patterns. Like I'm just like, and I try not to go down like a deep conspiracy rabbit hole. I never do those sorts of things, but like I do look at. I'm like. And also, by the way, you know, correlation doesn't always equal causation, you know? So it's like, I do try to like make sure that I'm like, I'm never 100% on anything. Cause it's like things change all the time, but like, there's just certain things I'm just like, not only instinctually, you know, cause I do listen to my gut as well. I listen to my brain, I listen to my gut, I listen to my heart, whatever. I try to keep my whole self in the equation when I'm analyzing something. And I think it's good to sometimes analyze with a little bit of emotion. Because if you're not fired up by things that are like obviously bad, you don't have a soul, in my opinion. So like, I don't know. I consider human beings to be more emotional creatures than logical, myself included. But I do try to combine both to understand the world around me as best as I can.
Yeah, man. I hear what you're saying on that. Like, look, we all have our own personal point of view, and because of that, we're all biased, and that's based on, you know, who our moms are, where do we live, you know, who helps us, who doesn't help us, right? We all have our own particular situation, right? And so we're biased towards certain things, right?
Oh yeah.
Now, when we see something that's an injustice or what we think is skewed the wrong way, it's gone too far in that direction. And I think, like, for example, you know, I would personally, if I was in charge, I would ban these drug companies from advertising, just like tobacco and gambling. I would ban that shit. But our opinion, you know, like you notice an outpoint in society, this will become common sense or well known probably in the next 10, 15 years, where people will be like, yeah, it's so obvious that these drug companies are just pushing nonsense, right? Like, they're not actually curing what they, they're just treating things, and oftentimes they're making someone's physical health worse because they're not addressing the root cause of things at all, right?
Oh yeah.
And they're just coping, right, by making people numb or, but that said, there probably are things that really can work. So we tend to be like more skewed the opposite way. Like I'm more like, I understand the benefit of fiat money, for example, because like you run into problems when you have not enough gold coins and stuff like that. So it's harder to produce. It's harder to get capital. It's harder to create new stuff. So I do see the benefit of having fiat. It's just that unregulated, how it is like today, it's just there's way too much credit in the system, not enough people producing. And so my point of view is generally skewed the opposite side of the pendulum. I can be in the middle of the pendulum. I can see the benefits of fiat and the annoying things of fiat, right? And I can also see the benefits of sound money and the problems with sound money too. But when the pendulum is swinging to the left, I tend to take bias of the other side of the pendulum to make people in the middle understand that the pendulum is even swinging, because they don't even see that it's swinging.
Yeah.
So sometimes you have to exaggerate your perspective, right? When you're contrarian, it's not because it is gray, right? Everything is gray. So you do adjust your perspective, but when you see something that other people don't see, you have to take a stance in order to make it known to others, right? You have to almost come from the other side of the pendulum, you see, and then hopefully one day it'll swing back in the middle. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if that makes sense.
No, it makes perfect sense. That's one of the reasons why I do this show, by the way, is because I thought about it. I was like, I may not be very popular, and I'll probably end up being eventually the most hated person on the internet, but that's okay. But it's kind of the goal for me, because contrarians have never been popular. Look at guys like Leonardo da Vinci, for example. You could argue that he wasn't very popular amongst common people back in his day. He's revered now as a visionary and great, but think about all these people. Some of them were burned at the stake, right? For having different thoughts, for seeing things that nobody else could see. And in a little bit of a way, you see that today. What's an example of something modern day?
Well, there's social shame today. Like if you go around and say, certain things about school, or you can really upset people, right?
Oh, yeah.
You can really cause. Yeah, you could point out all the ridiculous. Look at how ridiculous schools have become, right? They're like basically like illiteracy factories, like parrot factories, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you could attack that one real hard, and people still deep down feel this sympathy towards teachers and school.
Oh, I don't.
They can't nail it down.
I don't know how anybody in their right mind can love a public school teacher. Like, this sounds terrible. Like, obviously, I do love them as people, because I don't think they're necessarily bad people, but I do think that they are a product of a system that sucks. And I was exaggerating when I say, how could anybody love a public school? No, I was exaggerating when I said that, just to let everybody know.
Yeah.
So don't burn me at the stake, everybody. But I will say this.
Yeah.
It's funny because I've talked about that several times on my channel about the ick of public schools, in the sense that all they are is teaching you to memorize things, or not really teaching you to be a critical thinker or a problem solver. I mean, if you take advanced mathematics classes, that does help. Like, it's a good thing. Like, I attribute advanced mathematics to me being able to kind of problem solve the way I do today. So, if it was, because it taught me a little more about certain logic and certain things, and even studying like computer science, for example, has helped me a lot. But anyway, I won't go off on too much of a tangent. But yeah, like the simple things like that. Even
good example.
Talking about public school in a negative light, people will be like, well, what, should we all just go to private school? Even private school, I wonder sometimes. I don't know what they're teaching in some of the private schools these days, but public school definitely has a certain rot to it. I do blame the Department of Education. That's not a popular opinion because everybody's like, oh, sure. Trump getting rid of the Department of Education. Dude, it was started by Jimmy Carter. Also, by the way, second worst president of all time, just in my opinion. But Joe Biden's number one. Joe Biden's the GOAT of the worst presidents of all time. Just in shout out. But anyway, I'm talking too much. I'm talking too much. You're supposed to be the one. You're supposed to be the one talking. I'm talking too much, man.
No, I'm trying to contribute to the show. I just hope that our conversation is interesting to listen to, right? Like, I've watched your show pretty closely, and I've found I just like it when people have their own takes on things, right? And have their own, and I feel like it's a discussion, when I'm watching, and I try not to blast the chat, and try and say a bunch of crap that whatever. But a lot of the topics, I'm thinking about them too, and. So live communication, I just kind of think that's really cool,
Oh, yeah, and I found that there was a way for me to monetize live communication. Just me doing live streaming as much as I do, it's helped subscriber growth. People love giving me super chats and gifts. That actually helps, keep the lights on in a certain sense. I still do other things to keep the lights on, obviously. But yeah, I just thought, I've got the right kind of personality for this, to do this kind of show.
Yep.
And do I have the right kind of temperament? One would say no, because I do get a little heated sometimes, but actually I notice the more
heat... You think you get heated?
Well,
I'm kind of surprised, but you really?
Well, I should say in the way that I start speaking from time to time, I'll be like, this is stupid, man, what the hell? But I'll be like, I get a little intense, but I guess inside I feel heated, but I have a very relaxed demeanor, so maybe I don't realize that I don't.
Maybe it doesn't come. Yeah. That's interesting. Because you would probably be disguising that quite well. I don't think because it's funny because you might be getting heated on some actual philosophical point while you're spraying mustard all over your head, right? It's like.
It is fun to look ridiculous and talk about topics that are supposed to be serious, though. That's the best part. Actually, it's funny. I actually do that because I get a certain satisfaction because I know I'm about ready to get a little angry. So I'm like, you know what? I'm angry, so let's get people even angrier by me putting mustard on my head while I'm talking about this. Dude. So it's kind of like a Tom. I don't know if you remember Tom Green too much from MTV days, but
yes,
I was. By the way, this show is very inspired by Tom Green in a lot of ways because some of the antics that I do live on air, very inspired by Mr. Thomas Green.
He's the OG podcast, right?
Yeah,
Did you know that?
Well, yeah, exactly. Before Rogan, I remember his show. Yep. You remember obviously TomGreen.com. He had his because no network would take him. He was basically because he was seen as such a liability that he did you, fun fact, did you know that I went to his comedy show recently, Tom Green's?
Oh shit! Okay.
He gave an entire breakdown, right? Huh? Oh, what's up?
In Oregon, right?
Eugene, Oregon. Yep.
Okay, sorry. Go ahead.
No, you're good, brother. You're good. But it was really cool. He gave an origin story that basically he was saying that because he talked about that during his comedy show. He talked about that he was the original podcaster, but it was Joe Rogan who asked the question, "How the hell can I make money on this?" And then Joe Rogan, obviously, you could say, was inspired by Tom Green to do his modern podcast.
Absolutely, yeah. And frankly, I think Tom Green could bring it back, and people would love it. I just don't know how he's feeling about it. I mean, what do you think? He still got it, man. When you saw him, he's amazing, right?
He's still funny, dude. He's still pretty freaking funny. His comedy's still good. I just don't know if it really clicks with a lot of the youngins, I guess. So, I mean, but he has a TikTok.
Right.
He has a following still. He has a YouTube channel. So he's still making money in other ways. And I think that's good enough for him. I think he had enough of the limelight back in the day where he doesn't need to be super well known. I think he's fine with all the residuals that he gets to.
Yeah, he's not hurting for cash, right? but him, I kind of feel like he had a brand of just this wacky, straightforward and still intelligent but ridiculous. That I like. That's what I like, is someone who's actually super smart but can just be ridiculous. I think that to me is like some of the best shit, dude. You know.
Oh yeah.
And I think that's kind of how yours is. Your show's like kind of like that, don't you think? You're probably like mega high IQ. What's your IQ, like 155 or something?
I wouldn't be that generous on it. Last time I took an IQ test, I was like in high school. I tested like 132. So I mean, it's probably decreased over time. So I wouldn't even give too much credence to that. I think I was like 17.
Yeah, I mean, and what is? Yeah. It's just a relative comparison. Like it one metric that's useful in that is like speed. So you can have someone who's just super fast at things, but they could register a high IQ if they were fairly quick. And some of those questions, I don't know. I feel like I could design an IQ test. But also if you ask people to define what like IQ means, intelligence quotient, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's like a number divided by another number, you know?
Yep.
And that's what quotient means, but it's a little arbitrary, right? So I don't think it's the end all, but there is something to it. Like there's a bell curve of society, like as far as some kind of distribution, right? For people who can look at things and figure out what they are, right? They can, it's like, how fast can you see that pattern is really kind of how I think about it, you know? I don't know how you would agree with that, but I think it's like, how fast can you look at it and figure out that pattern? That's your IQ, right?
Yeah. Exactly. I mean,
I don't know. I mean,
with those types of, if you're even talking about, for instance, like the bell curve of IQ distributed amongst men or something like that, I noticed something kind of funny, that if you compare IQs of women and men, women on average tend to be at a higher IQ on average, but they're all very much at the same IQ level, right? So like, while women on an average, so like if you get bored, look up that curve, because there's really no curve there. There's actually no curve on that one, not as much of one. But if you look at men can either be hyper tarded, basically. You know, like you've probably met some, you know, like my boy Asmund Gould said, there's just some people who are made to turn big rocks into little rocks. And,
for sure.
But you know, like where that's all they can really contribute. And that's okay. Like to even just to be truthful on that one. But you notice that in men, that there's actually a major disparity. Have you noticed that the hyper geniuses have all been men? Like the ones that are in like high IQ distribution levels, like normally it's like 152, 160. They all tend to be men. I mean, there are women who have extremely high IQs, but it's not as many.
Those are outliers.
Men.
You're talking about the.
It's
Sorry,
weird.
Go ahead.
Yeah. But yeah, like
I have noticed that.
Yeah. So isn't that crazy? So if you get bored, and I don't know if that data's been updated. The last time I looked at something like that was like 5 years ago, because it came up in a feed of mine, and I was like, well, how true is that? And because I thought about it, I was like, you know what, that makes sense, because there are men who are just dumb as rocks. Like most women do tend to have, you know, a decent intelligence for the most part, but there's men that are pretty mid in intelligence level, pretty average. And then there's like really low, like we're talking about, oh, damn. You know, so it seems to be more prominent amongst men that there's a very wide distribution. Some are like hyper geniuses or some are just hyper tarded, you know?
Yeah.
And it's just like men are in an extreme, whereas women are more average baseline. That's not even to be sexist. That's just what the data said that I looked at. And by the way, anybody can fact check me on that if they want. I'm pretty comfortable.
For sure.
And it's not even a slight against women. It just seems like it's more of a slight against men, if anything. You know what I mean? The data slights men a little bit.
My take on what fair, man. You know, when you're saying that, I'll tell you my reaction is like, It's because women are sensitive to how other people think about things. Like, let's say objectively, we both look at a pattern. We go, okay, that's a tree, and the type of tree, that's a pine, right?
Mm-hmm.
Men will be like more inclined to say, that's a fucking pine tree. I know what a pine tree is, or I think that's a pine tree, whatever. Let's move on, right? And then women, they'll look at it and go, oh, that's a pine tree. But then they'll look around and go, but what do the other girls around me think it is? Right?
Oh, yeah.
And then they'll kind of go, well, I think it's a pine tree, but they call it a Douglas fir, so whatever, right?
Yeah.
So they're more sensitive to the agreement, right, of like the other people, right? So
Mm-hmm.
I think they're also like, they do have an objective thing, but there's like a subjective sense of agreement of others
Mm-hmm.
that they're way more sensitive to, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know, and that makes sense because they got to take care of children. Children aren't really logical. Like, you can't really logic a kid, right? Like, he's like, Mom, I want it, you know, or whatever, right? You know.
Mm-hmm.
So that makes sense. Like, women would be more emotionally, you know, they're more emotionally sensitive because that tends to be the role. There's tons of outliers, and I don't think any of us have to be, you know, it doesn't mean men are emotionally insensitive, but a lot of time men will get past the problem of communicating with emotions by, you know, executing some sort of task, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, okay, like if you're going to build a house for a guy, you know, you don't have to handhold the guy who's paying you to build the house. You just build the fucking house, and you know, the guy has certain quirks in his personality and shit. You just skip it and build the house and send him the bill.
Yeah.
Right. But the art of it is like you go in there and you go, well, what do you think? This is duck egg blue versus light sky blue, sir. You know, like, and he's like, well, let me think about it for an hour, and let's discuss the merits of duck egg blue versus sky, right? Like, you know, that's more of a women sort of beauty appreciation thing, right? Where like men are more like, okay, let's fucking put the paint on, right?
Yeah.
You know, that's kind of how I think about it, you know. I think women see the same shit that sucks in society, just like anyone can, but they're not going to really cause an argument about it, right? And that is dangerous because for the part of women that are lower on the curve, because most of them are, they become very collectivist, right? They will go against policies that are important just to save the peace, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, they'll do all manner of, you know, like policies that will eventually bankrupt the nation for the sake of, like, you know, how optics, right? How
because
does it look, right?
I think agreeableness is a really,
you know,
here's the thing. I think agreeableness is a double-edged sword, because what you're talking about is agreeableness, I think, right?
Mm-hmm.
So with agreeableness, my problem with it is, I think, because exactly what you were saying,
to
that
preserve
certain
beauty and to preserve,
yeah, because like certain things that are stupid, you know, like for instance, like maybe like you were talking about, like certain laws, for example, that get passed all because of optics and all because of agreeableness, that you don't want to cause an argument. And that's the problem with agreeable people is, this is on men and women's side. I think the problem with agreeable people in general is that they are so afraid of causing an argument or causing a debate because they're conflict averse. They're so conflict averse that this is why sometimes it's impossible. Actually, you know, it's funny. This is probably why, and this is an interesting thing, you know, collectivists tend to be more agreeable in a lot of ways. And that's not like I always say, agreeableness is not a good thing. I actually think it's kind of a shitty thing. But you notice that most people who are collectivist tend to be more authoritarian, because if you do debate them, if you question any of their orders, they get pissed and they're like, no, you're just going to do this. Shut up, do it. Shut up and do it. You know what I mean? And that's why you see collectivists, because collectivists tend to be agreeable. There's a pattern I've noticed, not always, but tend to be agreeable, and therefore tend to be more authoritarian when they're put in positions of power. I know it's a crazy thing to say, but like that's what I've noticed too. You notice in history, I guess.
And well, well, I think it's absolutely. I would say underlying that a little bit is just like how deep the person is actually stared into the void of existence, right? Like, I think men typically have a higher level of like confront of like, you know, bad guys and, you know, tough situations generally because they're built stronger or whatever, right? So they can look at the world and say, wow, that seems pretty evil, right? Whereas if you're a collectivist, you kind of have to just shut the blinders on evil because you don't have any defense against it, right? And why would you point out, because your defense is more like preserving a family and then just ignoring the outside world to that degree, right? Like you just sort of go, well, the world's screwed up, but you know, what I can do is raise my own kids and keep them happy. But then they're just completely blindfolded to the evil that like the how their children are raised, like who's teaching their children, what are their children being taught, what are they taught? Like they're completely basically they just have to accept everything, right? And because they don't really sit there and like if you were to say to them derive calculus and derive the formula for specific gravity for Earth, right? You know, they really. I remember going to school in 12th grade, man. Like I would tell you, I was about the only person interested in gravity that way. The rest of them were trying to pass the test, bro.
Yeah.
I mean, I think I was the only one who was like, wow, yeah, if I was back in the 1600s, how the fuck would I solve this problem? And then I was like, wow, that's smart, you know? I was like, wow, that is smart. That guy was cool, you know? Isaac Newton, wow, he was a cool dude. Wow, that's crazy. You know, and then you derive those things, and then your understanding of it is from the fundamental of it, right? So you can really look at it. You've looked at it into the void from first principles. Collectivists have no first principles, so they only have the resources of the group to protect them, right? And so, you know, they don't really. For example, they won't pass laws that are just and fair. They'll pass laws that will protect them themselves or people like themselves, right?
Or to preserve the group.
Because they're afraid, right? You know, so they often are hypocritical. That's right, yeah. And so they have these massive hypocritical sort of like positions, right? And they're just massive blinders on, you know. And so collectivists sort of, they're trying to just save their own skin, but they're just so cowardly that they can't really operate on fundamental principles, you know? I don't even think it's that they're dumb. I think that they're too scared to sit still and stare into the void of existence and say, how do I derive calculus from scratch? How would I, wow, that apple's falling. How does that work? How would I, you know, like they just don't do that. They're too scared, right?
Well, I think the problem with collectivism is people become too comfortable relying on the group.
They just have to be a parrot. They just, you know.
Well, I think the problem is people get too comfortable relying on the group.
For sure, man. I get fed here.
Yeah, and the thing is, when everything's handed to you,
and as a society, we decided, yeah.
Sorry, there might be a delay in the connection. My bad. If I am interrupting in any way, I just want to apologize.
Like, what does
big
it mean?
time, man.
Like, you know, like. Oh no, you're good, man. Yeah, I'm just trying to, let you kind of, finish your thought there, right? Because my mind starts firing, when you're talking, right? I'm like, oh yeah, this and that. I don't know how. Hopefully, it's kind of interesting conversation for people to follow. I don't know how the chat is going because I can't see the chat.
Oh, but, I'm having fun with it.
Try to steer it in a way that makes sense for the chat, right? Like.
Oh yeah, no, I think you're describing things really well.
Like for example, I'll give you an example. Like, okay, good, yeah. Like take someone on welfare, like my sister. She's in Canada. She's on welfare, right? She has a nice apartment. She has kids. And I remember she was feeling, she got to a point where her income is fixed. I think she has a few credit cards with some debt too. But she has a limited income. She's a really nice person, like legit cool person. You can talk to her about whatever you want. She's easy to get along with, but not just agreeable, right? She's like actually likes to learn things. She has her own way of thinking about stuff. But she told me like years ago, she's like, I got to get off welfare, right? Something's wrong with me. Like, I don't feel good. I'm, even though I have my house, my rent paid for, my kids are fed, there's something wrong, like I'm not actually doing anything. I'm just sitting here doing nothing really. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was like, well, what can you do? So I tried to explain, well, let's get you producing something, right? Let's get you actually producing for society. Like, you're helping to raise kids. That's helping society. Yes. But it's like, the person knows, like, I'm consuming from society more than I'm actually giving back. Right. And they know that. They don't like that feeling. And that's not a really good spot to be in. And I think a lot of psychological problems stems from that. It's like that inadequacy, but it's technically it's the one's own estimation of one's own. One is they know they're consuming more than they produce, right? And it's acceptable for children. Like, we go, well, we're gonna feed you and clothe you and all that, because you're young. Because one day you're gonna be all grown up, and then we're gonna rely on you to be productive, right?
Yeah.
But if you never actually grow up and you never become productive, then it's like what you're saying. You get comfortable with, but it's actually a really miserable situation, bro. Right? Yeah. That comfort is very painful. That's, I guess, my point. I don't know. What's your take on that?
My take is comfort kills.
Did I lose you?
Oh no, you're good. No, by the way, there's a delay in the connection. So
comfort kills, dude.
By the way, there is a delay in the connection.
Okay.
I think there's like a 5 second. Yeah. By the way, if you can hear this right now, it's probably a 5-second delay in the connection, because I think I'm using up as much bandwidth as I can on this, and the line on text now is kind of shitty. So, but anyway, so I'll finish my point real quick on comfort. So I do think that comfort is the greatest killer of productivity. Well, go ahead.
Yeah. Oh, no, go ahead, sir. Go ahead, man. You're good.
Okay, cool. All right, so here's the thing. Comfort is the biggest killer of productivity, because when you're comfortable, I think that the human spirit kind of dies through comfort. Because, I don't know what it is, I think it's just because I don't know if human beings were meant to be comfortable all the time. And I think that's why some people who are always in comfy mode get irritable, right? And I noticed that because I don't live a very comfortable lifestyle. I mean, like, it's not like I'm not like suffering by any means, but I'm not like always cozy, if that makes any sense. I'm trying to work out as much. I walk around a lot. I'm not always lounging. Most of the time when I'm lounging, it's usually just sitting in this chair is the closest thing to lounging that I do. But yeah, so I think comfort ultimately kills. I think you got to be doing something, even if it's, for instance, like what I'm doing right now. You could say that I'd say this is pretty comfortable for the most part, but at the same time, it forces me to think. It forces me to talk, and putting myself out there, forces a little stress on me, which is a good thing, by the way. So I don't know. I think comfort ultimately is a killer, and I think we gotta deliberately make ourselves a little uncomfortable, and get comfortable doing uncomfortable things. I don't know. It's tough to say.
Yeah, and as you practice that, I think that's how you develop skill, right? Skill is sort of like, I guess discomfort is like the mother of that, right? Because you do, but if you try to take it all on at once, like, it takes time to get good at something, right? So I think, we don't have to design a society that's naturally difficult for people. I don't think that's necessary. But what we did, we went the extreme. We tried to take away all of the pain and all of the suffering out of society, right? And just try to boost basically make the number go up, right? Because you have two aspects of measuring most things. Like say we go population of Earth, let's number go up, right? Well, we have a lot more people, but also if you just boost the numbers, the quality of those people is going to be obscured, right? So some of them are going to be super productive and other ones not. And we kind of take that on and we say, okay, okay, we're willing to take that risk. Let's just boost our species numbers, right? To some higher maximum level. And then it will plateau. I think we're sort of reaching a plateau as the boomers sort of die out or whatever, of where people are no longer going to seek comfort. I think the boomers really kind of screwed us over with the comfort thing, and you do want, I'm not saying you want max discomfort, but you need enough. I just think you need minimalism, and then just enough, and then just earn everything you want, right? Like if you want to get that new car or guitar or whatever, and then just figure out a way to earn everything, right? Yeah. And then I think we can, because the quality of our individuals has really suffered as we boosted the quantity, right? In the early days of America, it was easy to just teach when you had 5 kids in the schoolhouse, right?
Yeah.
And now you got 30, and I think we're going to go back to a system where it's all one-on-one, man. Really. And we got to just get everybody extremely literate and then go and study whatever the fuck you want, right?
That's because honestly, if they just promoted literacy,
that's sort of how I think about it.
Yeah, if they just promoted literacy,
and then
schools,
people will actually do things, right?
Yeah. So
sorry, I'm done.
And no, it's okay. It's okay. I interjected because when you talked about literacy, I was thinking, honestly, if you just maxed out children's literacy levels, they would be able to understand most things that are thrown in front of them. Like if they had a max reading level, like if they really if they maximize literacy at a very young age, like that's what the main focus of elementary school, in my opinion, should be, is just focusing on literary intelligence and competence there. And then once then they'll be able to learn for themselves a lot more efficiently. Because, honestly, once you learn to read at a high level, you can take on any subject that you really want to take on by just looking at a book or anything. It's good to still have teachers and stuff like that. There are some concepts that are difficult to understand without some sort of guidance. But that's why we live in the age of YouTube and all that shit. Anyway, sorry, I'm going off on a tangent, but what do you think about that, though? Do you think I think that's what you're getting towards, like, was maxing out literacy, I think.
Well, that's exactly that's a great point. That's what I'm getting. Yeah. And then you just get rid of the bullshit, like, because education is actually very, very simple. It's like definitions of terms. I think we could spend a lot more time on being extremely literate, just grammar, and then, everything else is just electives, right? Mm-hmm. It's like, hey, what do you like? What are you into, right? And then go and learn it. And then I think also, like, people would naturally be less collectivist, and they would actually, I think we could actually have a lot of people creating their own jobs, right? Instead of just going into the parrot world of, well, now I'm supposed to do this and now I'm supposed to do that, right? Like people, it's really kind of weird to me, how people just, I understand why they do it. It's because they're kind of scared and they don't want to take the risk and they, whatever, right? But I mean, what I do, I have my own window cleaning business, that's what I do. I just clean fucking windows, man.
I think that's good though. I mean, you're,
I mean, that, I work for my customers and simple, right?
Exactly. And you're like are you like the sole proprietor of the business, or like, do you have like employees, or how does that go usually?
Well, I used to have employees, but now I just work by myself, man. That's it.
That's smart, man. Sometimes it's easier not to have employees. As terrible as that sounds, like it's becoming more expensive to have employees, I think. Maybe.
It really is, right? And if as you make it more and more expensive for those employees, they're trying to service you as the owner, and they're trying to service the customer as well. So it's very difficult. They're serving two masters. They're trying to do a good job for you, and they're trying to do a good job for the customer. And it's very weird, like, because it's a very practical. When I teach someone how to do Windows, right, I have to teach them like as if this is going to be their living. And a lot of them are just trying to earn extra money or something like that. And also the insurance is very difficult. It's very difficult. It's really difficult to help them and give them a job, and it actually is a liability, and it makes the average worker, I realize, he's consuming more out of the business than he's contributing back, right?
Mm-hmm. Oh, without a doubt, dude. Because like, as much as I'm a pro employee kind of guy, but the thing is, for me, like, only if it's good for the business. Like, but the thing is, what I'm not pro is all the rules and regulations that are out there. For like, small businesses can't keep up with some of these rules and regulations, whereas like big corporations like Walmart have no problem with that. You know what I mean? So it's just like, I feel for any small business, because it's like, technically what I do could be considered a business, but luckily I don't need any employees. Doing the YouTube channel is just a little media company for me, but I don't need employees, thank goodness, because I do all the work myself, you know. But if I had to have employees, that would kind of suck for me, because I would have to pay them and pay myself. So, and also with all the rules and regulations regarding employment, it's like, dude, why would I might as well just learn everything I need to learn just to make this whole operation that I got running just go. Because you yourself, as a sole proprietor of your business, you get to take home all that dough. You get to do whatever you want with it afterwards, whether it's invested or use it towards anything, really. How do you feel about it? Does it make it a lot easier just doing all the stuff yourself? Was it easier to have employees, or is it just a lot easier now, just you as basically being like the sole proprietor?
Yeah, I went through a lot of different growth periods, right? I went through a lot of things, but I will tell you this, when everyone else is very collectivist, and they are, I'm not saying all jobs are bad. We should have entry-level jobs. We should have all kinds of jobs, but there's right now the pendulum is swinging where no one really creates their own job. I think you are creating your own job. That's really, really cool. Content creators legitimately are. They're like entrepreneurs in that way. They're creating their own thing. And I think that, yeah, it is tricky because, sorry, I lost my train of thought there for a second, but like,
it's all good.
I will say, like, it's not that easy when everyone else is collectivist. I think you have a competitive edge. If you don't have a big old business yet, like you're just starting off, you can focus on quality. And that is also, basically, it's the way you communicate directly with your customer. Like, that's a very scarce commodity, like, to actually address their specific concerns, and your demeanor in the way that you do that is a very important skill that you can learn. And you don't have to be the fastest window cleaner, but, for example, but you can do it in a way where you shut out the competition, right? Like, where they would never use someone else, and it has nothing to do with price, right? And so you have a very powerful, when the whole world is just like dispersal and robotics and online, all that, your one-on-one communication directly to the person that you're servicing is your competitive edge. And I think Mother Nature has programmed that in, so that no matter how big these corporations get, there's still a void. If people go out of communication, live communication, one-on-one, and servicing another person it is the way for an individual. It'll even get you through tough times if you're in like socialism, or if you're in crony capitalism, or if you're in a free market. It works. If you can find someone, talk with them well, let them talk to you, figure out what they really need, and then get the exact skills to over-deliver to that person, you'll always have money. You'll always know that you can survive, and you won't need to scam. You know, you can gamble, but it's just for recreation, legitimately, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's not your way. That's what I mean by failed production. That these things, because but if you can learn to talk one-on-one, and even you, like, you got 100 people in your stream, but they feel like it's you talking to them kind of one-on-one, right? To that degree, even though it's hard, you can't talk to everybody, but like, you know, I think that's a really important skill that individuals need to understand, you know. What do you think, man?
Well, what I think is, well, first off, just a quick thing. I'm a bit of a cheat code in the sense that I had worked over-the-phone customer service for like 13 years. So, like, I'm good at talking to people one-on-one. So that's why I think it always feels like even when I do a stream, it feels like I'm really talking, even though 100 people sometimes could be in the stream. It's not always, but like maybe even 30. You know, everybody feels like I'm really trying to reach out to them, like really talk to them. Because the way I talk to them is as if they are an individual. You know, I don't talk to everybody as if they're a group. I really do try to talk to everybody as if they're just a single individual and not a collective. And it's tough. It's not always easy. But with your business, though, I think what you're doing is actually fantastic, because you are, you know, you're able to bring home all the dough. You're able to focus on the quality of your work. You know what your mission is. You know what you're trying to accomplish with your business. And so, you know, with your kind of business, you're able to be a one-man wrecking ball. I think that's really cool, by the way. And the fact that you have a window cleaning business, I mean, there's a lot of businesses out there. There's a lot of even individuals that want their windows cleaned ASAP, you know, so it's an in-demand business because they don't always want to take the time to clean the windows themselves. So it's really cool. And here's another fun fact. Another fun, interesting fact is that if you just ask and I learned this from T. Harv Eker, by the way. I don't know if you ever heard of him. He's a pretty cool dude. I've never talked to him personally, but I've watched a lot of his stuff, read a lot of his books. But he says that, honestly, if you just ask yourself, what can I do? You know, what problem can I solve for somebody, even if it's simple, even if it's a simple problem? What kind of service can I provide? What kind of product can I provide to solve a common problem, or even a slightly specialized problem? Like, you solve a problem by cleaning people's windows. You are solving their problem, and they are like grateful as shit for it. And if you have good prices that are competitive, they're going to be like, wow, I can pay him a decent price. He's very kind to all of us. He's got a good demeanor. So you earn your business. It sounds like you have earned the people back. You've earned them back no matter what. So I think that's really cool what you're doing, man.
Yeah, and it kind of lets me speak to that, right? I can speak to that. I can't speak to many things in life, but I can speak to that. Like, I have a lot of weird theories, you know, but I can show you how to talk to someone or listen or how to act or whatever, and be yourself, right? You know, I can do that and show you how to make some money or whatever, right? And then I think people don't really, because it's hard to assign a monetary value to your ability to let another person talk, or right, and talk in a way where they'll, like, because you know how it is with customer service, right? Like, people are upset about something, and they really do just want someone to vent at, maybe, right? Have you experienced that?
Luckily, I've always been in positions where I'm there to solve a problem. You know, usually there's not a lot of venting from the customers, and usually it's funny because I always had a decent handle time. I would say decent, never like the best, but like one thing I've noticed is what is it? I'm losing my train of thought now. Hold on, give me a second. It's oh man, they never really called in to rant. You know, they would give a rant. I would let them rant for probably about 30 seconds to a minute. And then that would give me an idea about what their problem was. And then I would start with the problem solving process. I'd be like, oh, okay, well, I definitely want to help you out, get this taken care of ASAP, that sort of thing. So that way, and I was always, enthusiastic, and was like, 'cause I do like solving problems. So if I can help somebody out, I think as long as you have a willingness to help, and solve a problem, I think that's really the key to even over the phone customer service. Hear them out. Hear the customer out real quick, and then get to plugging away on solving the problem.
Yeah, that makes sense. Like I've noticed when I hate calling Bank of America because they basically just say, "Oh, I'm so sorry, sir. I'm so sorry, sir," and then they don't solve your problem. They're just like trying to be agreeable or whatever.
Scripted
right?
empathy.
I don't know if you've noticed that with the big bit, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
I understand your
trying
problem,
to show
sir.
you, okay, sir. Yeah, we really value your business, and we understand you don't. Yeah, but they're like, sir, I have no access to company policy, and I'm afraid of losing my job, so I have to hang up.
That's wild, man. That's wild. Sometimes, man, it blows my mind. Like, yeah, I hate calling into customer service lines.
I try not to give them a hug. Yeah.
Like, even as somebody who did customer service over the phone, I prefer to avoid the lines.
Dude, fuck, that's another rant. Oh God, dude, I feel like shooting myself when I have to call the bank or something. Like, it literally hurts me. It hurts me, and I try to be polite, but it's just like they can tell I'm not happy or whatever, But like, I try to be cool now. Now I'm just like, okay, whatever. That's just, I don't try to add extra shit to their day or something, right?
Yeah.
And but actually, Garza, I really appreciate the call. Can I call you back like maybe tomorrow or something like that?
Yeah, I don't know what I'm doing tomorrow exactly. I don't know
because I really enjoyed coming on, and but I need to go and make some calls. Okay.
But I will say, because I never really plan out my streams, I'll try to be on at some point tomorrow. I'll figure out something, though. But if you see me on, let me know. I don't mind. We'll have like another 20, 30-minute conversation and stuff, and we'll call it groovy. I enjoy talking to you. You're a fascinating individual, brother. You're a fascinating dude.
Bro, right back at you, man. And I hope I didn't steal your chat from you. And I just wanted to try to contribute to the show because I like the show. And I hope the chat is responding okay. So you guys take care, and try to get you some more memberships and stuff. And keep it up, buddy.
Oh, hey, thank you, Major General. I don't know if you want to reveal your real name. It's probably why you go by Major General Tao, but we'll just call you Major General. How's that sound?
That's awesome, bro. That's perfect. And I'll see you guys in the chat, and then I'll try to hop on again real soon, okay? And then because I have so many things I want to talk about with you. It's funny, so okay.
Hell yeah, brother. Well, all right, Mr. Major General, I'll let you go. Hey, and oh, dude, this is fun. Anyway, I'll let you get back to it. I'll let you get those calls in, man.
Thanks a lot. You guys take care. I'll see you soon.
All right, man. Ghost Dog. Ghost Dog OG, dude. What's up? We got Ghost Dog OG. We got Talkative Parrot. We got Chris Guthrie. What up, dude? Hell yeah, dude. We got the works, dude. We got everybody. But everybody, that was Major General Tao. Was on the phone. Make sure you guys sub to my boy Major General Tao. The GOAT. The legend. What a stud, dude. Hey, buddy. Ghost Dog OG. Hey. Oh, Ghost Dog OG. That was Major General Tao. Don't call him. Don't call. Have some respect for the Major General, bro. Oh, man. Ghost Dog OG says Garza likes dudes to put it on the glass and push up real hard. Push real hard. Oh, Ghost Dog OG, dude. The GOAT, dude. The GOAT. Give me 1 second, though. I gotta check a couple rando things real quick.
Laugh out loud.
Laugh out loud. Oh, Major General Tao, thank you so much for the gifted membership, my brother. We got Hellisher 8 is got a gifted membership from our boy Major General Tao. So give a round of applause, my boy. Let's see. Major General Tao says I'm getting trolled. So Ghost Dog OG, by the way, called Major General Tao the gay Ghost Dog OG said, "Shut up, gay window man." What the hell, dude? Come on. Ghost Dog OG says, was trying to make Garza break, but he's a damn robot. I've been accused of being a robot before. That's awesome. I'm like an android, dude. I'm a robot, bro. I'm a robosexual. Blue Nose Pity, what up, dude? My brony brother. I don't even want to know what kind of emoji that is, Blue Nose Pity, so I'm not even going to guess. But what's up, everybody? This is great. That was a great chat we had with Major General Tao. Total stud, by the way. Total stud. What a beast. Oh, what a beast. Oh, what a man. All love, though. All love. This is, damn it. Okay, so hold on. My microphone settings. Sorry. Something. Oh, you know what? You know what messed with the microphone settings? It was Text Now. Text Now started modifying it. Hold on. Let me go into the settings here real quick. I gotta figure out some of these. So I'm trying to figure out how to prevent apps from controlling the microphone volume and stuff, and that's a bit of a tough one. Let's see. I also kind of want to uninstall Microsoft Teams, or at least quit it. There we go, quit it. Ghost Dog says glass rhymes with ass. Super flaming windows. Okay, hold on. So Major General Tao says, ha ha ha. All love, though. I'm trying to make... Kemoy Chapman says he's trying to make... Kemoy Chapman's trying to pop my butt cherry or something like that. I don't know what's going on there. Blue Nose Pity says one dude called you AI once. That makes sense. Major General Tao says I need to become more alpha. Oh, dude, you're alpha. You're alpha enough, bro. You're alpha enough. I think I'm alpha, but I look beta. You know what I mean? As my boy Jesse Lee Peterson would say, beta. I don't know. I don't even know if I'm an alpha. Maybe I don't even know what the hell I would be. I'm a mixture. I'm an in-between between a beta and an alpha. I don't know what that would. I'm kind of a pussy. I'm sort of a pussy. Ghost Dog OG says glass rhymes with ass. Major General Tao says I clean windows in a kilt. Dude, that's actually... Dude, really? Dude, if you clean windows in a kilt, by the way, that would make you... I don't know if you're just joking or not, but if you actually cleaned windows while wearing a kilt, that would set you apart from everybody else. People would be like, hey, dude, there's this badass who cleans windows with a kilt on. That'd be fucking sick, by the way. Hell yeah. F yeah. Major General Tao says, I'm a dominant beta. 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 I don't know if you guys ever watched like Jesse Lee Peterson or whatever, but he does this thing where he's like, "Oh, you're a beta, beta, beta." It's just so much fun, dude. I love watching his. He's so great though, dude. I love. He's funny as shit, dude. Beta, beta. But dude, if you actually if you clean windows in a kilt, dude, that's actually kind of tight. It's kind of smart too. Oh, whoa. Okay. I had no idea that there was actually dudes who clean in a kilt. That's hilarious, man. But what a beast, dude. I can't believe that there's a dude who cleans a kilt. That's hilarious. That is cool. There's actually a dude who does that. So, Major General Tao, are you saying that you're a beta? Beta? No, just kidding. I'm one to talk, dude. I look like the ultimate beta male. I look beta. Give me 1 second, everybody. If you shave your beard, you definitely do. We're all Sigma pretending to be beta so we get along. Major General Tao might have just hit the nail on the head, dude. We're all Sigma males. We're all pretending to be beta, beta, beta. You're a beta. You're a beta male. I don't know. I love Jesse Lee Peterson so much, dude. That guy just makes me laugh more than anybody on there. Oh, my God. Jesse Lee Peterson's the GOAT, dude. You guys, am I becoming the greatest anti-crypto streamer of all time? I feel it. I feel like I am, man. You have a beard like ZZ Top? Hell yeah. So I got to ask ChatGPT a question because it's been on my mind. Why am I gay? No, but the question I got to ask ChatGPT is, how do I prevent all apps in Windows? How do I prevent all apps in Windows from adjusting the mic volume when they use the microphone? Because this is a big problem, man. I have a problem with this. I'm trying to figure this one out. Troubleshooting up the ass. I'm going to call Windows customer support. My name is Hamid. I am Chinese. Beta. Beta. I love saying the word beta. Beta. ZZ Top is pink alpha. Hell yeah. Peak alpha, yeah. But I'm a beta. 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 He's a beta. Oh, man, dude. Jesse Lee Peterson, though, is the GOAT, man. He's the greatest of all time. And what a stud, dude. What a stud. Beautiful, man. So I'm going to call my brother. All right, show. We're calling my brother. We're seeing where he's at. We're seeing if he's in town yet.
Hi, you've reached Brandon. Please leave a message and I'll get right back to you.
Oh, never mind. He didn't answer. I think he might maybe be in town. I don't know if he's in town or not, but yeah, we'll see. Ghost Dog OG says, asking ChatGPT how to eat poontang is peak alpha, as ZZ Top is peak alpha. Yeah. I have a beard like ZZ Top, says Ghost Dog OG. And then Blue Nose Pity is that's a goat. It's a blue goat. It's very cute. It's so cute. Okay, so ring Joe Biden to see what's up. Joe, I love Joe Biden, dude. We all, no, just kidding. But we all pretend to love Joe Biden on this show. And why do we do it? Because we don't want to seem like we're betas. I think alphas. I'm an alpha because I love Joe Biden. That's the truth. I'm an alpha. Why doesn't anybody believe me? Nobody believes that I'm alpha? Beta. Beta. I don't know why I get to say that all day though. I get to say beta. You a beta. I can't help it, dude. But yeah, so to draw back to the original subject at hand, because I tend to go off track. I am the greatest of all time anti-crypto streamer. I pronounce myself just like LeBron James pronounced himself the GOAT after he won the finals coming down from 3-1. Even though he only has 4 rings and Jordan has 6, and Jordan did it in like half the time that LeBron did it. But let's give LeBron... No, LeBron's an accomplished player. I'm not even taking anything away from LeBron. Just want to let everybody know that. But Jordan's the GOAT. Michael Jordan's the GOAT, man. But I am the GOAT. I am the GOAT anti-crypto streamer. Now, I don't know who is more anti-crypto. I think Strongman and I are both anti-crypto, but I think I talk about crypto being stupid more than Strongman Personal Finance does. And he's my home dog. I like that guy. I don't know him personally, but I went on his show, which was an honor, by the way. I was very honored to be on Strongman's show. That was one of the coolest moments of my YouTube career. Major General Tao says LeBron is beta. Beta. Ghost Dog OG says, you are the GOAT of the blue brow. Ghost Dog OG says Trump putting the picture of the auto pen up in the White House was peak alpha. Yep. Agreed. Blue Nose Pity, number one. Major General Tao says LeBron is beta. You are the GOAT of the blue brow. Yep. Crypto is beta. Ghost Dog OG says very beta. Major General Tao says lol. I like the one crypto, bro. What sucks is there's so many pro crypto channels on YouTube. It's sickening. Like I can type in crypto current, like I'll type in crypto and we'll get like Tim Smith says, did you see the Trump auto pen post he made on Truth Social? I did not. Let me take a look here. Let me hold on. Trump auto pen truth social post. Oh shit, really? You know, say what you want about Trump. Trump actually takes the time to physically sign these things, right? Trump is there. Trump is present. Major General Tao says, "Oh, Dogecoin is a joke. Like they actually the creator of Dogecoin created it as a mock Bitcoin because he thought Bitcoin was basically stupid. So he made his own crypto." The irony is people actually take the time to trade that. But yeah, I'm looking it up real quick. So I see a CNN article that says Trump, I don't know how true this is, but Trump pushes long-running attack on Biden auto pen use, claiming he's canceling actions signed with it. Oh, heck yeah, dude. President Donald Trump on Friday continued his effort to delegitimize actions taken during Joe Biden's presidency, claiming in a social media post that he is canceling all executive orders and anything else that was not directly signed by his predecessor. Exactly. Here's the thing. I will give Trump props because you should not be using AutoPen. If you're the president, you should just sign the fucking bill. And if you can't be present to sign said bill, that's on you. That's a problem. I think that the use of AutoPen is ridiculous. And also there shouldn't be, and by the way, for those who are arguing, but there's so many bills that Joe Biden would have had to sign, there shouldn't be that many things that he has to sign. And here's the thing. If he can't take the time to sign it, like if his hands just don't work, if he needed to use AutoPen, sure, that would be an exception. Okay, granted. But he would still need to be present with cameras on him or something to say, yeah, I approve this. I approve this. So the fact that Trump is present and signs everything that comes his way, first off, proves that he's involved in the process. Two, with AutoPen, here's the problem. Anybody can use that AutoPen, as far as I know. I don't really know all the details, but think about it. If there are people pulling the strings, that's probably why Joe Biden was perfect, because, you know, he doesn't question anything. He's just along for the ride. While everybody else around him is putting out crappy executive orders that he claims he did. Ugh. Oh yeah, Major General Tao says AutoPen is peak beta. But Biden wasn't present even when he actually had an actual pen. Oh geez. Kamala said. But yeah, no, here's the thing. I have there's a lot of issues I had with the Joe Biden presidency. One, you know, he was just as old as Trump, but Trump seems a lot, you know, like when you look at somebody, you know, they could be the same age as the other person, but one looks significantly older than the other. I looked at Trump and I was like, yeah, Trump seems significantly younger than Joe Biden and more mentally cognizant, right? So I had a lot of problems with the Biden presidency. It's just bad. The heck? So this just in from Benny Johnson. It looks like it says President Trump has officially terminated every executive order and all other documents Joe Biden signed with the auto pen. Seems more and more this is truer and truer. Oh my God. About freaking time, dude. Yeah, so here's some of the comments. Here's some comments that you're going to find interesting. So Lord of the Pies says you're not even allowed to sign a mortgage document electronically, let alone sign things into law. Yeah, you shouldn't be able to sign things with an auto pen. If you're the president, anything that goes by your desk must be signed physically by you. That's a big deal. If Trump was using auto pen, I'd be like, dude, stop. Yeah, and there's a lot of sketchy shit that happened during the Biden admin, man. Ghost Dog OG says, 1, he was an effing zombie. 2, he was, oh jeez, yeah, bro. Ghost Dog OG, man. Yeah, no, they definitely, Joe Biden was used. But here's the thing, and his wife. I'm not a fan of Jill Biden. Joe Biden, look. Joe Biden needed to be in an elderly home. He didn't need to be president. He didn't need to be president. Period. And all I got to say is what a relief it was when Trump won, right? Because we would, the reason, and Democrats cope a lot with this, but the reason that Trump won is because the Democrats were so incredibly unpopular. There's no clear leadership in the Democrat Party. There's nothing. And yeah, and here's the thing. Joe Biden, exactly, Major General Tauben, Joe Biden was a lifelong career politician. He basically was just a lifelong politician, straight up. Oh, it is tough to feel sorry for Joe Biden, without a doubt. It really is. Because the dude made a living helping pass BS laws. It's just, I don't know. Pisses me off. People can say what they want about Trump, and Trump is not the greatest guy in the world, but I'll still take him over Joe Biden or Kamala Harris, without a doubt. There has been more done in this last year. There has been more accomplished in this last year than anything that Joe Biden did. So that's the way I see it. Oh my God. Joe Biden had some agreeable collectivist traits. He could at least take a joke once in a while. Some redeeming traits. His brain isn't it? The GOAT, dude. The GOAT. We all love Joe. Who here is a Joe Biden fanboy? Raise your hand. Say aye. Joe Biden, he is number one. I love him. He is lots of fun. We all love Biden. We all love Biden. Tell me now, why do I love Joe Biden so much? I believe Kamala gave Joe backstage. Whoa! I want. Oh, man. Make sure you guys hit the simp, I call it the simp subscribe button, where everybody just simps. I need more simps and I need more pimps. But yeah, if you guys can, make sure you guys hit the subscribe button right there. Hit that simp subscribe button. Yeah. Hit it. Hit it. Oh, yeah. Hit the subscribe. You gotta subscribe. Stephanie loves Joe Biden. Stephanie loves Joe Biden. Hell yeah. You go, Stephanie. Thank you for loving Joe Biden. The GOAT. It is fun, you know, it is really fun to pretend like I love Joe Biden, though. I don't know what it is. Like, a part of me wants to get a White Guys for Harris t-shirt and then just go down to those anti-Trump rallies.
Laugh out loud.
Stephanie loves Joe Biden.
Major General Tao. Hell yeah. Let's put that up one more time. Let's do a replay. Replay.
Laugh out loud.
Stephanie loves Joe Biden.
That's funny, dude. She's gonna kill you, dude. And you blew. That's all. Hey, thank you, Major General Tao. We'll just keep that up there real quick. We'll keep that super chat up there for a bit. Actually, that's hilarious. I think we're all Joe Biden lovers. Major General Tao says white betas for Kamala unite. Oh my God. Beta. He's a beta. 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 She's so embarrassed. Ghost Dog OG, dude. That's so freaking hilarious, dude. We, That's funny, man, dude. You get it, Ghost Dog. You're the man. You're the man now, dog. Woo. Oh, man, that's too good. Too good. I appreciate you guys. You guys make this, you guys make the chat super fun, man. Give me some Biden 2028. That's too good, though, man. It's too good. Well, probably going to end the stream here in just a few moments. I do want to apologize to Ghost Dog OG. There's no frosting tonight. I don't know if I'm doing any I might. I'll take that back. If I decide to do a stream tonight, I may do frosting. Just to let you know. That may happen. I don't know if I don't even know if I'm doing a stream. That's why I'm doing the stream right now. So, because I'm going to be pretty busy for the rest of the day. My brother's coming into town, in which I'm going to try calling him one more time here. See if I can get him on the line real quick. You guys might get to hear my bro here in a second. My brony bro. He might have been in bad cell service originally.
Yo, what's up, man?
What's up, brony?
What's happening?
Oh, no, just, you in town?
Not till later.
No, not till later? Okay. I was just seeing what was up, man. But yeah, okay, I thought you were going to be in town like in the afternoon. My bad.
Yeah, I will. I'll get a hold of you when I get in town, man. Probably around like 7 or 8.
Oh, what a beast, dude. What a beast. Yeah, I'm just doing a live stream at the moment, so...
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I got a jet. I'm still at work, but I just wanted to see what was up.
Okay, never mind. No, nothing big, nothing big, nothing crazy.
Cool. All right, man. I'll talk to you a little later.
All right, love you, bro.
right,
bye. Okay, I guess he's at work, so I didn't. I guess he probably had to do some stuff, but anyway, he's probably having a busy day, so I better. Tim Smith says the Slap Chop commercial said you're going to pay $1 for extra nuts on your ice cream. Can we get free nuts on your next frosting stream? Tim, that's a good question. You know what I should do? I need to do an ice cream stream where I get like a little bit of ice cream on me. I think that'd be cool. I think an ice cream stream would be pretty dope, actually. He got all the good DNA. That's funny, man. The nuts are always free. But no, but you know, my bro's cool. He's a good dude. Yeah, so he's going to be in town a little bit later, it seems. I thought he was going to be in town a lot sooner. Well, I might as well go for like a walk or something. Yeah, as I thought he was going to be in town like by the afternoon. I guess it's not going to be until later. That makes sense. Whoa, dude. Tim Smith says the guy from the Slap Chop and ShamWow commercial is running for state Congress in Texas. Really? Oh, man. He needs to come here to Oregon to save Oregon. Dude, if the Slap Chop guy ran in Oregon, dude, immediately he would have my vote. There'd be no questions asked. I would absolutely vote for the... I don't even care what his politics are, dude. Vince from Slap Chop and ShamWow. Without a doubt, dude. I'm voting him in. Chris Guthrie says, remember Ryan Garza? He showed a lot of love because of the no frosting. I don't know, man. I will say that I love Rye Guy. He's the man. But I will say the frosting does bring in the freaks and the degenerates like Ghost Dog OG. Love you, Ghost Dog, by the way. But Dog Eat Dog, a.k.a. at Ghost Dog OG, is somebody who loves that frosting. He wants that frosting everywhere. All right? He wants it everywhere. I can't always do so. I can't always do it. But man, oh man, Ghost Dog OG, you're my boy, dude. You're my boy. Hee hee. All right, you guys, I do got to go. I'm a little bit exhausted at the moment. I'm just mentally exhausted, not physically. I'm gonna go take a walk. Clears the old noggin. I might go to Dairy Queen and get myself a Blizzard or something. I got some Dairy Queen coupons I need to use anyway. But I will catch you all later. Make sure you guys, if you guys haven't, subscribe to the channel. Whoever hasn't subscribed, please hit that subscribe button. It does help a lot in a lot of ways. Other than that, I'll catch you all later. He called me a power bottom. I'm a power bottom, dude. Oh my God. I'm a power bottom.